faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to achieve the desired success, that is Krishna Prema. I once again welcome all of you to the Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. A very happy Ekadeshi, Yogini Ekadeshi. Today we are all celebrating. So let's move on to the next session, that is Srimad Bhagavatam. Before going to the next section, let me know who are all on the call today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, Dandrat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Preeti Dasi from Charlotte. Hare Krishna and happy Ekadasi to you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhu Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call and thank you for your wishes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandrat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Arvind Das from Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Sri Garanga, and to all the assembled devotees. This is Megha from Naperville. Happy Yogini Ekadashi to everyone who is celebrating today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Megha Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for your wishes, and thank you so much for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, and with Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from Texas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for all your services on Bhakti Sangha, and thank you so much for joining the call today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to you and all Vaishnava. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Inda.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to your chanting, Mataji, and all glories to your comments you give after the class. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj and assembled devotees. This is Shiromani Nandrani Devidasi from Qatar. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Happy
Krishna, Shiromani. Hare Krishna, Shiromani Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Happy Ekadeshi, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call constantly. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. I offer my obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. I am Oyun from West Bengal. Happy Yogini Ekadashi to all those celebrated. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. I didn't get your name, Mataji.
Yuma, I think.
Oyun. A-Y-A-N.
Okay. Ayom. Okay. Hare Krishna, Ayom Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Happy Ekadeshi, Mataji.
Oyun. A-Y-A-N. Oyun.
Okay. Ayon.
Yes, Mataji.
Ayon. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you for correcting, and sorry for the mistake. Hare Krishna.
No, Mataji, thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to all the assembled devotees. This is Shushmita from Canada.
Hare Krishna, Shushmita Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This is Manisha from Charlotte.
Hare Krishna, Manisha Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Is there anyone else who would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna, this is Harani Devidasi from Mauritius. Happy Ekadashi.
Hare Krishna, Harini Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Happy Ekadeshi, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to assembled devotees. This is Mohini Lakshmi from Detroit.
Hare Krishna, Mohini Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. So dear devotees, so now we will be moving on to the next session, that is Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you. I once again welcome all of you to the Bhagavatam class today. So now we will be moving on to our next session. So this class will be given by Her Grace Lalitangi Radhadevi Mataji. So which will be on Canto 6, Chapter 1 and Text 2. So before moving on to the session, I will hand over the call to Suresh Shyam Prabhuji to give brief introduction about Her Grace Lalitangi Mataji. Hare Krishna, Suresh Shyam Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining the call. Over to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Here is a brief introduction about Mataji. Her Grace Lalitangi Radhadevi Dasi is an initiated disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. Since 1995, she has been rendering various devotional services under the guidance of senior devotees. After her marriage, she had served many temples and congregations such as ISKCON Silicon Valley and later in ISKCON San Diego, Chile, and in Manchester, UK, and India and in Charlotte, USA. Right now, she lives in Toronto, Canada, and serving New Remuna Dham. Mataji is active with book distribution, kids classes, adult classes, youth classes, festival coordination. She conducts the Madhava class for teens in Bhakti Sangha. She is regularly attends the early morning Bhagavatam classes. Hare Krishna Mataji, a brief introduction about Lalitangi Mataji. Back to you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving such a brief introduction about Mataji. Hare Krishna, Lalitangi Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji, for your valuable time and association and for all your services on Bhakti Sangha and for your poetry also. Thank you so much, Mataji. So we are here to waiting to relish your class. Over to you, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji, and all the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Gurudev. Thank you so much, Mataji, for this opportunity. And I'm rendering very less service compared to all the devotees in Bhakti Sangha, trying to do a little bit whatever I can. So we can start. Just confirming the verse, Mataji, 6.1.2, right?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
So we are very fortunate to have this opportunity to read from this Amala Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam, and hear the realizations from very senior and pure devotees. So let's offer prayers to Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Namah Pankajanabhaya Namah Pankajamaline Namah Pankajanitraya Namaste Pankajangrehe. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 1, Text 2. Pravritti Lakshanaschaiva Traigunya Vishayo Mune Yo Sav Alina Prakriter Guna Sarga Puna Punaha. Synonyms: Pravritti by inclination, Lakshanaha symptomized, Cha also, Eva indeed, Traigunya, the three modes of nature, Vishaya, possessing as objectives. Mune, O great sage, Yaha, which, Asau, that, Alina Prakritehe, of one who's not freed from the clutches of Maya. Guna Sargaha, in which there is a creation of material bodies. Punaha Punaha, again and again. Translation. O great sage, Shukadeva Goswami, unless the living entity is freed from the infection of the material modes of nature, he receives different types of bodies in which to enjoy or suffer. And according to the body, he is understood to have various inclinations. By following these inclinations, he traverses the path called Pravritti Marga, by which one may be elevated to the heavenly planets, as you have already described in the third canto. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As Lord Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita 9.25, Yanti deva vrita devan pitranyanti pitravrataha bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti madhyajinopi mam. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. Those who worship ancestors go to the ancestors, and those who worship me will live with me. Because of the influence of the various modes of nature, the living entities have various tendencies or propensities, and therefore they are qualified to achieve various destinations. As long as one is materially attached, he wants to be elevated to the heavenly planets because of his attraction to the material world. The Supreme Personality of Godhead declares, however, those who worship me come to me. If one has no information about the Supreme Lord and his abode, one tries to be elevated only to a higher material position. But when one concludes that in this material world, there is nothing but repeated birth and death, he tries to return home, back to Godhead. If one attains that destination, he need never return to this material world. Yad gatva nanivartante taddama paramam mama. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 19.151, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bijam. According to their karma, all living entities are wandering throughout the entire universe. Some of them are being elevated to the upper planetary systems, and some are going down into the lower planetary systems. Out of many millions of wandering living entities, one who is very fortunate gets an opportunity to associate with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. By the mercy of both Krishna and the spiritual master, such a person receives the seed of the creeper of devotional service. All living entities are rotating throughout the universe, going sometimes up to the higher planetary systems and sometimes down to the lower planets. This is the material disease, which is known as Pravritti Marga. When one becomes intelligent, he takes to Nivritti Marga, the path of liberation. And thus, instead of rotating within this material world, he returns home back to Godhead. This is necessary. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So let's offer our prayers so that this service of discussing Srimad Bhagavatam is pleasing to the Lord, to the devotees and the acharyas. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Pada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Yevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripa tamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram. Harihi Om Tatsat. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto all the assembled devotees and begging your blessings so that we can discuss something that is in line with the acharyas and take inspiration and enlightenment from Amala Purana Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Pravritti Lakshanas Chaiva Traigunya Vishayo Mune Yosav Alina Prakrite Guna Sarga Puna Punaha. O great sage Sukadeva Goswami, unless the living entity is freed from the infection of the material modes of nature, he receives different types of bodies in which to suffer, enjoy or suffer. And according to the body, he is understood to have various inclinations. By following these inclinations, he traverses the path called Pravritti Marga, by which one may be elevated to the heavenly planets, as you have already described in the 3rd canto. So we are starting the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and it was very beautiful 5th canto. The first half of it, different histories, the main one being the pastime of Jada Bharat, and then the second half was the Vedic cosmology. We had brilliant lectures that we heard from various speakers. So the culmination of the description of cosmology was the description of the hellish planets. So it was so picturesque and so scary to hear of the hellish planets and the punishments that has been inflicted herein. And then we saw in the first shloka yesterday, Prabhu very nicely went through Nivritti Marga. So here, Parikshit Maharaj is kind of summarizing what he has heard so far from Shukadeva Goswami in the next few verses and thanking him for such a nectarian knowledge and presentation. And then he's starting to ask his question. So yesterday we saw that how Parikshit Maharaj, being a Vaishnava, he's paradukka dukhi. He was not happy having to see many living entities suffer the severe punishments in the hellish planets. And so he's going to ask a very valuable, very significant question to Srila Sukadeva Goswami, because as a Vaishnava, he can't tolerate and he wanted to see what is the solution for it. And also he's reflecting on his hearing about the punishments in the hell and whether it is really helping the spirit souls to make a determination not to perform sinful activities again. So in the coming verses, we can see all this. So yesterday was Nivritti Marga. Nivritti Marga is the path to liberation. How one may attain that was explained in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The conversations between Brahma and Narada Muni, and Narada Muni questioning Brahma about his position, and Lord Brahma explaining how the process of creation, how he himself was created, and what is the purpose of creation, and how he was empowered to do the secondary creation. So here in the third canto, it is explained that he's explaining the Pravritti Marga. So Pravritti Marga is the path of sense gratification with fruitive activities in mind and with the propensity to enjoy more. But this is not done illegally or criminally. That is vikarma. So that is different. Those who do that, they are put into hell and their path is different. But Pravritti Marga is something taking from the Vedas and doing one's prescribed duties perfectly according to the Varnashrama Dharma. And what is the result of that? The result of that is one is eligible for sense enjoyment, because that's what a person desires who is in the Pravritti Marga. So the sense enjoyment in this world also, we can see that when a person is rich and nicely situated, well educated, and he has all the benefits, then he can enjoy better. But if a living entity deserves enjoyment, which is beyond this Martya Loka, then he is elevated to the heavenly planets. So this heavenly planets is Swarga Loka. It's not even Bhauma Swarga. Bhauma Swarga is what we heard from Pavaneshwar Prabhu, the different dvipas and the different varshas in Jambu Dvipa, and how the facilities for enjoyment is there so much that there is a river of mango juice, river of honey, and there is gold and thing everywhere, and there is fragrance from the bodies, which is very much in contrast with this Bharata Varsha. So this is the Karma Bhumi, and that is all Bhoga Bhumi, but that is Bhauma Swarga, the Swarga Loka that is depicted in Jambudvipa or Bhumandala. So, and above Bhumandala is Antariksha, various planets and stars, and then we see that there is Swarga Loka, and that's where Indra resides. And there the quality of enjoyment is much, much more compared to here. So in this shloka in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yanti Deva Vrita Deva Pitran Yanti Pitrivritaha. So one who follows this Pravritti Marga, he deserves to take birth among the demigods, and he takes birth among the demigods. And those who worship the Pitrus or ancestors, they go to the place of the ancestors, and those who worship the ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. But those who worship me, he says that, will live with me. Even before going to him, one can live with him. That is the glory of the worship of the Lord. And also he contrasts in many different places in Bhagavad Gita, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punar Avartino Arjuna. According to the material calculation, the lifetime of Brahma is fantastic and interminable, but from the viewpoint of eternity is as brief as a lightning flash. There are many Brahmas who rise in the causal ocean like bubbles in the Atlantic. This is the purport from, I'm not exactly quoting, but just paraphrasing the purport of this Brahma Bhuvana Loka. So from Brahma Loka down to the hellish planets, now we have an idea of what are the different planetary systems and what is going on there. Down to the hellish planets, what is the problem is that Punar Avarti. A person has to come again and again. But he says, Mam Upetya Punar Janma. If you come to me, you don't need. There is no need of coming again and again and going through all this again. So I was going through the third canto, where Pravritti Marga is described. So let's see that. So this is Canto 3. So if you see Canto 3, we see about Vidura meeting Maitreya and Vidura's remembrance of Lord Krishna, and then Vidura and Maitreya Samvada. There is about creation and how Brahma came from Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, the appearance of Kumaras, then the appearance of Lord Varaha, how the Kumaras, how the doorkeepers of Vaikuntha, Jaya and Vijaya, cursed by the sages. And here is the description of Vaikuntha. And then how the first one, Hiranyaksha, who's, the twin of Hiranyakashipu, how he was terrorizing all the direction of the universe. And then how Lord Varaha killed Hiranyaksha, and further conversation between Maitreya and Vidura, and then the story of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. So in this, in chapter 32, yeah, so we see how Kardama Muni and Devahuti is married, and then Kapila was born to them, Lord Kapila, who is none other than the incarnation of the Supreme Lord. And his instructions to his own mother, Devahuti, who is lamenting that she has not used a spiritual association of her husband, and now her husband has gone again to follow Nivritti Marga, and only Lord Kapila is also about to go. So she says, please enlighten me. And Kapila Dev is instructing very beautifully about adverse fruitive activities and what happens in the movement of the different living entities. And in this chapter, entanglement in fruitive activities, text 16 to 22. So text 16, persons who are too addicted to this material world execute their prescribed duties very nicely and with great faith. They daily perform all such prescribed duties with attachment to the fruitive results. So this is the Pravritti Marga, and Prabhupada's purports are beautiful, but for lack of time, we won't read all the purports, but some of them. Such persons, impelled by the mode of passion, are full of anxieties and always aspire for sense gratification due to uncontrolled senses. They worship the forefathers and are busy day and night, improving the economic condition of their family, social, or national life. Such persons are called Trivargika because they are interested in the three elevating processes. They are averse to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who can give relief to the conditioned soul. They are not interested in the Supreme Personality's pastimes, which are worth hearing because of his transcendental prowess. Why? Because of their attachment to perform everything in the mode of passion, and attachment to fruitive results, and attachment for sense gratification due to uncontrolled senses. Because this is the goal that is there deeply rooted in the heart, they are averse to hear about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And what about such persons? Such persons are condemned by the supreme order of the Lord because they are averse to the nectar of the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are compared to stool-eating hogs. They give up hearing the transcendental activities of the Lord and indulge in hearing of the abominable activities of materialistic persons. So this purport was very interesting. So how people, it's very typical of what's happening here. Prabhupada's purports are, his devotional ecstasies, and also written under the direct order of the Lord. Everyone is addicted to hearing of the activities of another person, whether a politician or a rich man or an imaginary character whose activities are created in a novel. There are so many nonsensical literatures, stories, and books of speculative philosophy. Materialistic persons are very interested in reading such literature, but when they are presented with genuine books of knowledge like Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Purana, or other scriptures of the world, such as the Bible and Quran, they are not interested. These persons are condemned by the supreme order as much as a hog is condemned. The hog is interested in eating stool. If the hog is offered some nice preparation made of condensed milk or ghee, he won't like it. He would prefer obnoxious, bad-smelling stool, which he finds very relishable. Materialistic persons are considered condemned because they are interested in hellish activities and not in transcendental activities. The message of the Lord's activities is nectar, and besides that message, any information in which we may be interested is actually hellish. This is typical. I mean, no one can say that I am not hearing about the activities of any other person. First, some people are interested in the news. Some people are interested in what, Hollywood, Bollywood heroes and their personal life and whether they're diverse. That's why, when you go to the supermarkets here and they keep the magazines, and when you're going to the billing place, and the magazine is full of, the front cover is people. What's happening in the lives of so-called leaders of the world? I mean, not leaders, who are attractive to different kinds of people according to the different modes. Sportsmen, they're always looking for some juicy stories, right? So everyone is addicted to hear about another person. But here Srila Prabhupada explains how in this world people are people are interested to hear. But when we say, please take this Bhagavatam set and please read Bhagavad Gita, they say, no, I already have it at home. My grandmother, she gave me a copy, and I still have that copy, and it's very safe, closed inside the, and it is hardly to be seen. At least the deities they see. But the grandmother's copy of Bhagavad Gita, which is almost in rags, it is hidden somewhere inside under a cloth, and they're happy with that. Let Bhagavad Gita stay where it is, and let me do what I'm supposed to do. I can, read Facebook and WhatsApp and how many interesting posts and what everyone is doing. I mean, in this day and age, we don't need to call somebody and ask. Even a ex-person may know what's happening in the lives of some other person who's living on the other side of the planet, thanks to all the social media. So Prabhupada says that what is the result of all these absorption is that this is what we are going to think at the end of our life. And because of the influence of such things, we are associating more and more with the material modes of nature, and our tendency to enjoy is increased, is flamed more and more. So if we are stuck in this whirlpool, then it's very hard for us to take our mind and absorption in that and then put in Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Even though Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and others are available at home, we prefer to see WhatsApp and social media. That is it's not easy. Maya, mama maya, duratyaya. So that is the absorption of the conditional life. But finally, where it goes is that it leads us to being, and we are also in the path of doing the same activities and go to suffer, earn the suffering in the hellish planets. So Srila Prabhupada says that any other information which may be interested is actually hellish, except for Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and other Puranas. And he also includes Bible and Quran in this, because different people are different they have different aspirations or thirst for spiritual knowledge. And according to their thirst, different gradations of knowledge is given to them. But if a human being is not using any of this, then this is what happens. How Supreme Lord is condemning them. Such materialistic persons are allowed to go to the planet called Pitruloka by the southern course of the sun. But they again come back to this planet and take birth in their own families, beginning again the same fruitive activities from birth to end of life. Why? Because of the attachment in that family. So that's why when you go to, this is what he says in chapter 9, verse 21, 20 and 21 of Bhagavad Gita, how one person is elevated to the heavenly planets, and after finishing all his activities there, Shine Punye Martya Lokam Vishanti, coming back again into this Martya Lokam. So when somebody is having some problem and then they go to the astrologers, and the astrologers say that there is some dosha in this. So there is some mistake that is done by your great ancestor, and because of that, some neglect of worship of some family deity, or he did something, and because of that, you are suffering. He wouldn't say that you are the same ancestor who were there before. Okay, a few generations before in this planet, and then you went where we don't know where we went, through Loka or hellish planets, and come back again to take birth in the same family, and now we have to suffer the reactions of what we have done before. So this great secret of this unending cycle is given to us by Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Shastra Chakshus, the real eyes of the Shastras, to see how we are stuck here, and we are stuck here forever unless we desire and deeply desire to get out of it. So in the next sloka, he says, when the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they fall down by higher arrangement and again come back to this planet, just as any person rise to a high position sometimes all of a sudden falls. and how they are falling is very clearly mentioned, that there is no gruesome death, but there is falling down into the Martya Loka, and then they come through from there we come through the waters of rain, and then go into grain, and then from grain into ojas, and then from there into the womb of the mother. So ending this, Kapila Dev says that, please, this is the vicious cycle. And he says, my dear mother, I therefore advise that you take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for his lotus feet are worth worshipping. Accept this with all devotion and love, for thus you can be situated in transcendental devotional service. Because as a spirit soul, part and parcel of the Lord, we are not meant to go into this cycle endlessly. Even in the 15th chapter, he says, Adas chordvam prashrutastasya shaka guna pravriddha vishaya pravalaha adascha mulani anusantatani karmanu bandhini manushya loke. After explaining that tree, the reflected tree, which is the reflection of the spiritual world, Krishna explains how this tree, a person is caught up in this tree and is going from upper branches to the lower branches. So the upper branches are the places where there are higher level of beings, where there are higher level of enjoyment, and demigods are all situated there. And the lower branches, and each branch denotes a particular kind of a body, the species. And so the lower branches denotes the animal species and other lower species of life that a living entity goes through. So what Srila Prabhupada says that in another thing in the Bhagavad Gita, it's like a Ferris wheel. So sometimes in the higher planetary systems, and again we fall down, and when we fall down here, we don't know what association we have. Depending on the vasanas we carry, we may have association of people in the mode of goodness and again elevate ourselves, or there is more chances now, especially in the current condition, to go down into lower species of life. And this is how this material, this reflected tree has spread its roots far and wide, that we can't even figure out where it is started and where it is ended. Narupa masyeha tatopalabhyate nanto nachadir nacha sampratishta. How it is established, where it is beginning, where it is ending, one cannot find out. And this is nourished by the three modes of material nature. So by the watering is the three modes of material nature by which this whole tree is nourished. So what is he saying as a solution for this? Narupa masyeha tatopalabhyate nanto nachadir nacha sampratishta ashwattamenam suviruda moolam. It is very strongly rooted. Asanga sastrena dridena chitva. Asanga sastrena, with the weapon of detachment and with determination, cut down this. So the sword of detachment, but sharpened by spiritual knowledge. Then he says, Tata padam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuyaha. So you desire and determine to go to that place. Yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuyaha. Na nivartanti. You will never have to come back. Plan to go to that place. Tata padam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuyaha tameva chadyam purusham prapadye. So there surrender unto the Supreme Lord, yataha pravrittihi prashuta purani, from whom everything has come from time immemorial, and surrender to him. And how to surrender is the next verse, nirmana moha jita sanga dosha. So Krishna is contrasting and comparing the pravritti marga and nivritti marga. So Bhagavatam is filled with stories of what's happening in different planetary systems. Not that it is not relevant to us. We may not be able to see the Swargaloka and other things by the telescope and find an evidence. But our telescope is the Srimad Bhagavatam and other literatures. But what is the use of this knowledge? So that we would become determinedly situated in devotional service rather than diverting our attention to various things. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kuru nandana. A person who wants to attain the Supreme Lord, even when you're driving the car, what it says, don't look at the phone and drive, don't drink and drive, because you're not supposed to do the other things. Otherwise, we will crash, even when driving a car. So similarly, we are driving our vehicle towards a Supreme Lord, Supreme destination. So if we are diverting our attention here and there, how will we reach there? So, Bahu Shaka hi Anantascha Buddhayo Avyavasayinam. A person who's not determined, his intelligence is many branched and he cannot attain the ultimate destination. So there are so many descriptions of the spiritual world. Let's go to one such description from Srimad Bhagavatam, which is okay. Let's go through this only. Canto 9, Canto 9, text chapter 14. So Bhagavad Gita is like a law journal, and Bhagavatam is like expansion of that. What happens? Krishna says that, you may try to go up, but you'll come back again. So let's see here, chapter 14, King Pururava, enchanted by Urvashi. So this is a chapter, and there are so many things in this, but we would only read what is relative to our discussion today. From Atri's, text 3, from Atri's tears of jubilation was born a son named Soma, the moon, who was full of soothing rays. Lord Brahma appointed him the director of Brahmanas, drugs, and luminaries. After conquering the three worlds, the upper, middle, and the lower planetary systems, Soma, the moon god, performed a great sacrifice known as the Rajasuya Yajna. Because he was very much puffed up, he forcibly kidnapped Brihaspati's wife, whose name was Tara. So before going into any further, I wanted to tell that we are like ants compared to the demigods. This is what Srila Prabhupada told His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj, that once there were a group of ants that were going around, and he says that when the devas see us, they see us like we are like ants to them. So if an ant condemns a human being, the human being can just crush and finish the ant in one go. Our point is not condemning the devas, but to see what is happening in the Swargaloka and why it is absurd to continue to hold on this desire for fruitive activities and material sense enjoyment. So with that respect, only these histories are given in this Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Soma was born of Atri, and he conquered everything, and he forcibly kidnapped Brihaspati's wife, whose name was Tara. Although requested again and again by Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods, Soma did not return Tara. This was due to his false pride. Consequently, a fight ensued between the demigods and the demons. Because of enmity between Brihaspati and Shukra, Shukra took the side of moon god and was joined by the demons. But Lord Shiva, because of affection for the son of his spiritual master, joined the side of Brihaspati and was accompanied by all the ghosts and goblins. So there is fight between Brihaspati and Soma, moon god, and the guru of the devas. And the guru of the demons, the Shukracharya, he has an enmity with Brihaspati, so he took the side of moon god, and Lord Shiva joined the side of Brihaspati, because Brihaspati was a son of Angira. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that Lord Shiva took knowledge from Angira. And Lord Shiva was accompanied by all the ghosts and goblins. So we have Brihaspati and Lord Shiva and all the devas and Shukracharya, the moon god, and the demons on the other side. King Indra, accompanied by all the demigods, joined the side of Brihaspati. Thus there was a great fight, destroying both demons and demigods, only for the sake of Tara, Brihaspati's wife. When Lord Brahma was fully informed by Angira about the entire incident, he severely chastised the moon god Soma. Thus Lord Brahma delivered Tara to her husband, who could then understand that she was pregnant. Brihaspati said, "You foolish woman, your womb, which was meant for me to impregnate, has been impregnated by someone other than me. Immediately deliver your child. Immediately deliver it. Be assured that after the child is delivered, I shall not burn you to ashes. I know that although you're unchaste, you wanted a son. Therefore, I shall not punish you." Shukadeva Goswami continued, by Brihaspati's order, Tara, who was very much ashamed, immediately gave birth to the child, who was very beautiful, with a golden bodily hue. Both Brihaspati and the moon god Soma desired the beautiful child. Fighting again broke out between Brihaspati and the moon god, both of whom claimed, "This is my child, not yours." All the saints and demigods present asked Tara whose child the newborn baby actually was. But because she was ashamed, she could not immediately answer. The child then became very angry and demanded that his mother immediately tell the truth. "You unchaste woman," he said, "what is the use of your unnecessary shame? Why do you not admit your fault? Immediately tell me about your faulty behavior." Because the child that is born there, there is no the pregnancy period and then the delivery, and the child would take 10 years, 5 years to become a kid, and then 3 years to talk. It's not like that. So immediately there is conception, immediately there is delivery, and immediately the child grows. So the child is asking why it is so. That is how in the Swargaloka it is. It is not like what it is here. So so the child is asking like this. Lord Brahma then brought Tara to a secluded place, and after pacifying her, he asked to whom the child actually belonged. She replied very slowly, "This is a son of Soma, the moon god." Then the moon god immediately took charge of the child. O Maharaja Parikshit, when Lord Brahma saw that the child was deeply intelligent, he gave the child the name Buddha. The moon god, the ruler of the stars, enjoyed great jubilation because of his son. Therefore, thereafter, from Buddha, through the womb of Ila, a son was born named Pururava, who was described in the beginning of the 9th canto. When his beauty, personal qualities, magnanimity, behavior, wealth, and power were described by Narada in the court of Lord Indra, the celestial woman Urvashi was attracted to him. Pierced by the arrow of Cupid, she thus approached him. So we are seeing the dynasties of how it happened and how was Pururava and how was Pururava born. So even Kamal Lochan Prabhu told a story about Aruna and Aruni and how Vali and Sugriva was born. So a person who hears all this, going to the heavenly planets is a very wonderful proposition compared to living here. But that is not a permanent situation, and that is not freed from problems and the problems that is given by the uncontrolled mind and the senses. So what is the point in doing the Pravritti Marga and going there? And again, the same things continue in minor way. It's like this, like if you go to, say for a vacation, Hawaii or Disneyland, there are so many things to do, right? A person pays to go to the Disneyland, so many dollars, and then, and then there's a list of things from morning to night to keep. They always put things more than what we can cover. And our Indian mentality is to make the best use of the money. So we have to run from one attraction to another, to another, to another. And where is the time to think about the Lord or chant or read or anything else? It is difficult even to keep up our vows at that time. Of course, it's not difficult. We can get up early in the morning and chant, but that's just an example here. And in the heavenly planets, it's like that. Disneyland is nothing compared to the heavenly planets, inviting us freely from one enjoyment to another enjoyment to another enjoyment to another enjoyment. And our long life in heavenly planets will be finished like a moment, because we have umpteen number of things to do. So how will we be able to think feelingly about the Lord? Even here, we are not able to think feelingly about the Lord unless we have some troubles. Or when we are troubled, the way we surrender is from the heart, right? That is why Kunti Maharani is speaking from all of us on our behalf. Katam Pashe Mahistriyaha. We are all less intelligent women, and Kunti Maharani is asking, all these time we had so much of troubles, and Krishna, you stayed with us. Now you have installed Yudhishthira in the throne, and you're going away now. And you see how many enemies are still there. So if when we had troubles, you stayed with us, and now we are in a better position, you are going away, let me want the troubles again. Because during the troubled times, it's not for her, but she's telling for us. During the troubled times, at least I am forced to think of you. And thinking of you means not apunar bhavadarshanam, not coming back again to the thing of birth and death. So this planet is a perfect combination of hlada and tapa, that is happiness and distress. If it is too much distressful, and enjoyment in the mode of ignorance also, we are not able to put our absorption in the Lord. If it is too much enjoyment, like in the heavenly planets also, we don't have impetus. Not that, great saints, their devotees, they are there everywhere. But the practicing devotees, the devotees who are in the process, for them, heavenly planets is a big risk. So how will we think about the Lord? And by the time we finish our term, here 10,000 years is just gone like this. And then we may have to wait for Satya Yuga, and again maybe when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming, although the devotional things that we have accumulated will never go, we might not make it if we are diverted. So that is why these heavenly planets, the demigods, we saw them right in the 5th canto, what they are telling. The land of Bharatavarsha and the people who are born in Bharatavarsha are very fortunate, because they are able to perform this devotional service, which we are not able to do. And so we want a birth there. We read in 5th canto, I think 18th or 19th chapter. So, and being born here and getting an opportunity to read Srimad Bhagavatam and being association with devotees, we should never miss it. Because if we miss this, then there's no hope. We are a hopeless case. So continuing here, so Urvashi was attracted to Pururava because Narada Muni told about Pururava in the celestial court of Indra. So Urvashi and Pururava met, and Pururava is asking because Urvashi is heavenly beauty, right? And no, a man would be able, earthly being, we don't know what is heavenly beauty at all. What is the effect that they have on us? So Pururava was completely enchanted. And so there was a condition that, there used to be 2 lambs, and you should never come before me without clothes. And the Gandharvas planned that they want Urvashi back there. So they took the 2 lambs during the dead of the night, and Pururava had to go behind the lambs because that was his promise, and at that time he was not clothed. So Urvashi left him. And she also said that only preparations made in ghee will be my eatables, not oil. And I shall not want to see you naked at any time except the time of sexual intercourse. So all this continued, and Pururava and Urvashi were enjoying. See, now Indra is telling, without Urvashi, my assembly is no longer beautiful. Considering this, he requested the Gandharvas to bring back to this heavenly planet. It's time up, so we will just rush through. And finally, Urvashi left Pururava. And you can imagine what is Pururava's condition. Pururava was aggrieved. Because of his great attraction for her, he was very much disturbed. Thus, lamenting, he began traveling about the earth like a madman. And again, once he saw Urvashi accompanied by 5 companions, and then he says, "Oh, my dear wife, oh, most cruel one, kindly stay, kindly stay. I know that I have never made you happy until now, but you should not give me up for that reason. This is not proper for you. Even if you have decided to give up my company, let us nonetheless talk for some time." But then Urvashi said that, you pray to Gandharvas and the Gandharvas will give you. Then Urvashi and Pururava were together, and then Urvashi was pregnant and Pururava returned to the palace. So at the end of the year, there at Kurukshetra, he again obtained the association of Urvashi, who was then the mother of a heroic son. So only once in a year, Urvashi said that he can come. So Pururava had to wait throughout the year for coming. Then she said that you take shelter of the Gandharvas and they will be able to deliver me to you again. He prayed to Gandharvas, and Gandharvas gave him another girl called Agnistali, who exactly looked like Urvashi. But then over a period of time, Pururava found out that it is Agnistali and not Urvashi. So again, he started performing the yajna. So what is that yajna meant for? Karma Kanda sacrifice. Thus, Pururava, who considered the yajnic fire his son, was able to go to Gandharva Loka as he desired, because he wanted to go to the Loka of Urvashi and be with her. So this is how this chapter ends. And I heard from Adi Gadadhar Prabhu's lecture that His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, after reading this, when this, canto by canto was getting published, it's not like us, like we just in one click, we can go to wherever we want in Veda base and read whatever we want, whenever we want. So 9th canto was published, 10th canto half was done by Srila Prabhupada. Then after him, his disciples took time to complete that purports and then published. 10th canto, 4 volumes were published. Then 11th canto was published. So His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj had this doubt that, is this what is the teaching of Srimad Bhagavatam? That to like someone in the heavenly planets and do a yajna and go there for enjoyment? So his thing was answered in 11th canto, 26th verse. So let's go there. Canto 11, chapter 26 is Aila Gita. So Pururava is a son of Ila, as we saw, and so his name was Aila also. So what is this ending of this romantic novel? Did they live again forever happily, like how all the movies and the novels end? Let's see here. And the following song was sung by the famous Emperor Pururava. When deprived of his wife Urvashi, he was at first bewildered, but by controlling his lamentation, he began to feel detachment. When he was leaving him, even though he was naked, he ran after her just like a madman and called out in great distress, "Oh, my wife, oh, terrible lady, please stop." Although for many years Pururava had enjoyed sex pleasure in the evening hours, still he was not satisfied by such insignificant enjoyment. His mind was so attracted to Urvashi that he did not notice how the nights were coming and going. King Aila said, "Alas, just see the extent of my delusion. This goddess was embracing me and held my neck in her grip. My heart was so polluted by lust that I had no idea how my life was passing. That lady cheated me so much that I did not even see the rising or setting of the sun. Alas, for so many years I passed my days in vain. Alas, although I am supposed to be a mighty emperor, the crown jewel of all kings on this earth, just see how my bewilderment has rendered me a toy animal in the hands of women." And he's not an ordinary emperor. His glories were sung by sage Narada in the court of Indra. Then we can understand he's not a fake, emperor. Although I was a powerful lord with great opulence, that woman gave me up as if I were no more than an insignificant blade of grass. And still naked and without shame, I followed her, crying out to her like a madman, "Where are my so-called great influence, power, and sovereignty?" Just like an ass being kicked in the face by his she-ass, I ran after that woman who had already given me up. So he's, very nice. He's lamenting all this, and he's been telling that woman is responsible for her thing, right? But he says here, again, down if we come to text 17, "How can I blame her for my trouble when I myself am ignorant of my real spiritual nature? I did not control my senses, so I am like a person who mistakenly sees a harmless rope as a snake." So, so this is also very interesting, this one. "But who but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who lies beyond material perception and is the Lord of self-satisfied sages, can possibly save my consciousness, which has been stolen by a prostitute? Because I allowed my intelligence to become dull, and because I failed to control my senses, the great confusion in my mind did not go away, even though Urvashi herself gave me wise counsel with well-spoken words." So we missed that part. Urvati is telling him not to come behind me, and this body is insignificant and temporary, all that, but he was not able to listen to that. So now he's blaming himself. How can I blame her for my trouble when I was ignorant? What is this polluted body anyway, so filthy and full of bad odors? I was attracted by the fragrance and beauty of a woman's body, but what are those so-called attractive features? They are simply a false covering created by illusion. So then he's saying that what difference is there between ordinary worms and persons who try to enjoy this material body composed of skin, flesh, blood, muscle, fat, marrow, bone, stool, urine, and pus? Yet even one who theoretically understands the actual nature of the body should never associate with women or with men attached to women. After all, the contact of the senses with their objects inevitably agitates the mind. So after that, he's saying, therefore, one should never let his senses associate freely with women or with men attached to women. And in the purport says, for women it is men, for men it is women. Even those who are highly learned cannot trust the 6 enemies of the mind. That 6, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Matsarya, and envy, illusion. What to speak then of foolish persons like me? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Krishna himself is saying this, having chanted this song, Maharaja Pururava, eminent among the demigods and human beings, gave up the position he had achieved in the planet of Urvashi. His illusion cleansed away by transcendental knowledge, he understood me to be the supreme soul within his heart, and so at last achieved peace. Then he says, an intelligent person should therefore reject all bad association and instead take up the association of saintly devotees, whose words cut off the excessive attachment of one's mind, like how we are reading Srila Prabhupada's purports and how it is piercing our mind and cutting off. So that is the result of the saintly person's association. My devotees fix their minds on me and do not depend upon anything material. They are always peaceful, endowed with equal vision, and free from possessiveness, false ego, duality, and greed. O greatly fortunate Uddhava, in the association of such saintly devotees, there is constant discussion of me. And those partaking in this chanting and hearing of my glories are certainly purified of all sins. So what is this? Madchitta madgata prana bodayantaha parasparam katayantascha mam nityam tushyanticha ramanticha. So now when we read this Bhagavad Gita 9. Okay, we'll come back here. We have to finish the purport. I think it's time up. So this is what is told in the first thing, that what is the use? Yanti deva vrita devan. They again go, they are not satisfied and they come back. But what is worthy is that when we are going around like this, with no beginning and no end, from one species, from one planet to another, Brahmanda Brahmite, Kona Bhagyavan Jiva, we are very fortunate to get an opportunity to associate with a bona fide spiritual master, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai. Both with the mercy of Guru and Krishna, a person receives a seed of the creeper of devotional service. And Narada Muni is himself an example for this. So what happened, Narada Muni was living in the planets of Gandharvas, and he's singing nicely, and there is a get together for Hari Kirtana, glories, glorifying the Lord. So when he was getting together there, his mind was not on the glorification. Here, when I chant, when I give a class, what is there in my mind, you all cannot know. But in Devas, it's not like that. When a person is singing, and if his mind is not there, the Devas can know that. So he was cursed. Your mind is not in the glories of Hari, and you are singing it outwardly, then we can imagine how many times I should be cursed for talking one thing and thinking something else in the mind. So that is, going to Devaloka is not an easy thing. They have a subtle body, and whatever is going on in the mind, others can see. Here, if whatever is going on in the mind, can others see? That's it. That is our position and the Deva's position. So he was cursed. You are behaving like a Shudra, so you go and take birth to a Shudrani. So he was born to a servant maid, and that servant maid in the forest happened to serve a group of Bhakti Vedantas, saints. And this young boy, Narada Muni, was helping his mother serve the great devotees there. And there he got their association. He could hear their conversations because they are doing Madchitta Madgata Prana, Bodayantaha Parasparam. And with their permission, he took their remnants also. So after that, they left. And within a few days, his mother died by the snake bite. And this child was all alone. But he made up his mind that this is the mercy of the Supreme Lord on me to take shelter of him. So he started traveling all the places. And then finally, he continued to meditate on the Lord of what he has, keeping in mind what he has heard from those Bhakti Vedantas. And he was so deeply involved in the devotional service of the Lord by meditating on the Lord that he got the darshan of the Lord for a moment. So he was so happy, and that he got up, but within a moment, that darshan vanished again. And so he was again trying by his means to control the mind and senses and meditate on the Lord to see the Lord back. At that time, he heard an embodied voice that in this life, you cannot see me again because you have to be still more purified. Continue your activities in devotional service, and the next life you will be my associate. So Narada Muni continued from where? From a Gandharva to a Shudrani's son, and because of the association of Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, he got the seed of Bhakti Lata, and not only that, he watered that, and then at the end of this life, and in the next life, he came out of Brahma as one of his son, and he was a transcendental spaceman, and he was a touchstone who could touch others. Dhruva, he was a spiritual master. Prahalad, he came, intervened, took Kayadu to his ashrama, and he made Prahalad a Mahabhagavata by his association. And what to speak of that, Mrigari, he made him a saint. So same way, we can see that Narada Muni is present. The Srimad Bhagavatam is because of Narada Muni. He came and told Vyasadeva that you have been telling many different things like what we heard yesterday, but you have not one-pointedly glorified the Lord as a single subject matter of your work. So that is why you're feeling dissatisfied. So do that. So that is a glorious position of the life of Narada Muni, which Srila Prabhupada tells in a purport that he's an example of association with saintly persons and receiving their mercy. So like this, when one is interested in the path of liberation, Nivritti Marga, thus, instead of rotating within this material world, he returns back home, back to Godhead. This is necessary. So Prabhupada is telling. We will end up with 2 shlokas from Bhagavad Gita. Now with all this, beautiful illustrations from Bhagavatam, we can pretty much understand what Krishna is saying in 2 shlokas in Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 9, text 20-21. So when he says that, worship me alone, Maam Ekam Sharanam Vraja, it is not that he's an autocrat, but he knows that if we are going to divert our consciousness to different devas and taking shelter of him, then our destination is different. So as a loving father, he's telling that those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. They also worship him because they're following the rules and regulations that is set by Krishna. Purified of sinful reactions, they take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. When they have thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure, and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this mortal planet again. Those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of the 3 Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. And all glories to Arjuna, the descendant of King Pururava. So when he went to heavenly planets, when Indra got him, because there are a group of Nivata Kavacha demons who got the boon that they can be killed only by a human being, and a human being cannot come to higher planetary systems. So they were wreaking havoc in the Devas. So Indra got his son Arjuna in this earthly body there, and he fought with them and killed them. And at that time, Indra wanted to gift his son something, and he also noticed that how Urvashi was attracted to Arjuna, and he asked Urvashi to go to Arjuna. When Urvashi came, and since Arjuna knew that Urvashi was associating with Pururava, so he said, "You are my great-great-grandmother. So I'm not in a position to enjoy you as my wife because you are my mother." And so Urvashi cursed him that you will lose your manhood, and thus he became Brihannala in the Mahabharata. And without that, all the other 4 Pandavas can hide themselves, but Arjuna, it was hard to hide. So this boon came in disguise when he had to hide for 1 year. So in this way, we are, very fortunate to hear all this and read all this because of the costless mercy of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada and his disciples and great generations to continue this lineage, to give us this unparalleled association in the three worlds. One Prabhu was telling that wherever there is Bhagavatam going on, there are even the Devas coming to hear. So probably they are somewhere in the Zoom and listening to this, the reading of Bhagavatam. And thank you all so much. Please, I am very insignificant and I just shared what I read. And my realizations are only up to what I can, the level of an ant. So please forgive me for the mistakes. And if you have any questions, corrections, suggestions, you can share now. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Lalitangi Radhadevi, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, and all glories to you. Very, very wonderful class. Very, very nice. Just satisfied me. Thank you. Very, very nice.
It's all coming because of the association of devotees like you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you for your association.
So please give more classes like this. Thank you. Once before, then you gave about that class, about the Chaitanya Charitamrita. That was also wonderful, describing how the class Madhur Leela was went on. It's very, very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Please go on giving us this nectar all the time. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Please bless me to follow in your footsteps and become a devotee, Mataji.
I am indebted to you. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Lalitangi Mataji. It's so nice, wonderful class, Mataji, as Komariki Mataji told. So with so many shlokas and so many here and there, everywhere you quoted the shlokas, and also with Krishna Katha you brought it. The joints and the knots, which like it says, it's one point only. Like it's saying, like we have to go to Godhead and we have to follow the footsteps of the Lord, which He has given to us. So for that, you have to so many Krishna Katha and the Canto 9 and back and forth. You went to Canto 9, then 11 and 3rd. So it was very nice with all the pastimes also, Mataji. Thank you so much for giving such an amazing class, and please come in future to to make us to relish this Bhagavatam class. Thank you so much, Mataji. So devotees, the forum is open for questions. Shukukar Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Lalitangi Mataji. First time I'm listening, and really the mind-boggling class. So you started with the 6th canto, 1st chapter, 2nd verse, and went to the 3rd canto. You went through the whole 3rd canto, Kadamamani and Devoti, and you went to the 9th canto, and you came to the fantastic point of Pururava and Urvashi's meeting. And then you concluded to say that how Naradamani is so great that he became the preacher everywhere, and many of the devotees have come only through Naradamani and ended up in 9.20 and 21. Thank you very much, so much. Dandavat Pranam. You are really the greatest.
My humble obeisances to you, and we seek your blessings, Prabhuji, for following in the footsteps of you and other devotees and remain in devotional service. Thank you so much for your association and your valuable comments, and happy to have you in Bhakti Sangha, Prabhuji.
You helped all of us to really get the overall Bhagavatam. You made it complete.
Just I shared something here and there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, devotees, any more questions or realizations?
Hare Krishna, Lalitangi Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. I just want to share my, I guess, how you appreciation for your Bhagavatam class. It's the first time I actually heard you today, and it was just so wonderful. Like every other, every devotee has said, Mataji, Sukhakara Das, and Anita Mataji, everyone said the same thing. And I just want to say the same thing. I know it's repetition, but it's really I'm very enlightened by your class, and it was like it held me from beginning until the end. It was just so interesting. You went through all like whole Bhagavatam and then Gita, and it was all connecting together, and power of association, what we need to do, Prakriti, and then going to a devotional service. And it was just, I have no words. It was so beautiful, Mataji. Thank you so much for such an enlightening and wonderful, attractive and enthusiastic class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for your heartfelt wishes. And yeah, I also remember your class on Prabhupada Leelamrita. Right? It's wonderful, Mataji. It was so nice. The class is still in my ears and eyes, and how you took points, and each and every point you explained about what's happening in Prabhupada's life at that time. So I'm very grateful for your association. Thank you, Mataji.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Mataji. All glories to devotees and blessings of devotees. I don't know anything. Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा जी ललितांकी दासी कोटि कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम शिल प्रभुपाद शिल गुरुदेव की जय गोपीनाथ की जय ब्रह्मांड के कौन भाग्य जीव गुरु कृष्ण प्रसाद पाए भक्ति लता बीज Mataji, you grow up Bhakti Lata Beach in Sarlot in front of Shri Chaknath Balram Subhadrani. I have seen that how dedication, your strong dedication to grow little kids 5 साल से लेके 15 साल तक हो गए तब तक वो आपके अंडर में ग्रो हुए माताजी and then you give us Shri Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam class or and a small Rath Yatra I rememberize that day Mataji. So many Sarlot Vaishnava, those who are newcomer.
No, I didn't do anything, Mataji. It's all your association and Bhakti Sangha's association. So that's making, I'm very grateful to you because of your blessings. We are like this and we have a long way to go to be, following a little bit of whatever you're doing, Mataji. Thank you so much.
You are very blessed, Gopi Mataji. Please forgive me, but I want to complete from 12th grade, Preeti Vilasani told in a group, in Atlanta group, she is teaching all South Indian group, all South Indian newcomer Vaishnava, that from 12th grade you are reading Shri Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, and already in a graduation time you complete all that and Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, and not only completed Mataji, so many Vaishnava are completed, me too, but Mataji, we are not digesting Shri Bhagavad Gita or Shri Bhagavatam, and you digest it so that जब आप बताते हैं Shri Bhagavatam से तो वो रस निकलता है और सुने अरे टाइम कहाँ खत्म हो गया. This is the power of strong Vaishnava association Mataji. And मेन बताना है कि आप बैकबोन है, आप और जी प्रीति विलासनी, जी कीर्तिदास मेरी माता जी, कितने सारे नए वैष्णव को आप आगे लाते हो पीपीटी बना के, एंड आप पीछे रहते हो. दैट इज द ग्रेट, वो ही मतलब गुरु महाराज बताते हैं कि वही ग्रेट वैष्णव है कि जो नए वैष्णव को आगे लाए. हरि हरि गौरांगा बेटा, कोटि कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम टू योर सिंसियर सेवा. श्रील प्रभुपाद, श्रील गुरुदेव की जय, गोपीनाथ की जय. यस माता जी, एवरीडे प्रेइंग फॉर भक्ति संघ टीचर. थैंक यू माता जी, कोटि कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम.
Thank you so much, Mataji. If at all you find anything, that's because of the blessings of devotees, spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada, and I have a long way to go. Yeah, please bless me, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Vrinda Gopika Mataji. That was really a wonderful comment which you gave, which we want to say you told on behalf of us. So yes, Lalitangi Mataji, like as Megha Mataji told, I'm also first time hearing to your class, but it's really, really so wonderful, Mataji. With all the Gita shlokas also you interpreted. So nice, Mataji. Vinita Mataji, please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for such a beautiful class. Very, very grateful in the last minute accepting the class. Always, you are the savior, Mataji. Whenever we need it, you are there. Thank you, Mataji. Such a beautiful, you have given lot of information in just 1 hour. So much of information, Mataji. Thank you so much. And when you are telling all of this, I was thinking how people in this Kali Yuga, they just wanted to know about others' life and other important things, that you can see in YouTube. YouTube is like becoming like so this thing, Mataji, every small thing they do in the house, it's there in YouTube. Just to go and cut the vegetable, put on the stove, that is also shown. It's for that also there is so many views. That means people have lot of time. They're wasting their time. And the other day I was telling to my husband, look at this. These people just put this small clip and this has that much of views. I mean, people, what is that? That's 30 seconds video and it is like so much of views. Nothing is there also in that. So bad, Kali Yuga, Mataji. And very nice you explained, Mataji, how the demigods are always great and we are like always small, but we are trying to understand how the sense gratification will be capturing anyone in any moment of the life. So we should always be careful and try to surrender always to the Lord. Mataji, thank you so much, Mataji, for the beautiful class. Very grateful.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Mataji, I have to thank you because of you engaged me in this service. I could read something and that is so purifying. Otherwise, I don't take time and read 1 or 2 hours like this. I'm very grateful to you, Mataji. And also regarding the YouTube thing, you are the soldier from Krishna's side, always putting on live and taking care of this Bhakti Sanghas, the lectures and other things go on live. So people have an alternate. Not see some crazy videos, but see some stuff. So that the work, the service that you're doing is very, very valuable, Mataji, and such hardworking, doing that day in and day out. So very grateful to you for that.
Agree with you,
thank you so much.
And also for the Prabhupada and your Guru Maharaj, also this is working so much hard.
Yes, agree with you, Lalitangi Mataji. She is the like a backbone of our Bhakti Sangha, Mataji. It's not easy to give 8, 9, 10 hours a day, Mataji, from morning 4:30 to night 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then she has to दूसरी सेवा है कि उनको वापस डाउनलोड करना है and फिर वो YouTube पे डालना है. It is not easy, Mataji. She is a wonderful devotee. We can see that how much time she is given her Bal Vrunda, that Bal Vrunda will pick up. Yes, she is intelligent, but still she is given so much efforts that Bal Vrunda will pick up within 2 time. We will explain the sloka and she has a by heart. She cannot read, but she all the sloka she has a by heart.
Very true, Mataji. Very, very true. Unparalleled devotional service. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Yes, Vinita Mataji is Budakeshi of Bhakti Sangha. That's what I can say. Prahaladanand Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandot Pranam. Please accept.
Krishna Mataji. Dandot Pranam.
Oh, Shamagori Mataji want to speak, I guess. She's traveling and she wants to I think she wants to thank Lalitangi Mataji. Shamagori Mataji, you can unmute. Okay, maybe she's not able to. Okay, Prahalananda Prabhu, you can go.
Thank you very much for allowing me to speak. I'm really grateful. And in this today's class, Mataji was saying Brahmand Brahmita Kaun Bhagyavan Jeev. So today I feel that I am that Bhagyavan Jeev because I got into this Bhakti Sangha, although very late and recently. But I pray to Lord Krishna and Srila Prabhupada up to the last day of my life. I want to be with this group every day, increasing my knowledge, my bhakti, everything. Thousands of times. I've read Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya, everything I've read, but the experience I'm getting here is transcendental, as a spiritual bliss. All right. Okay. Another point I want to ask is, myself, I have practiced obstetrics so much, delivered so many babies, and including my own sons. What is the process of procreation in Swargalok and others? We hear that they are just born, conceived, and just like that. Although in the 3rd canto, Kapil they have explained the pregnancy and all that. But I would still like to have some knowledge what the process is there. I understand that they do not have parthiv bodies like ours in this world. And I also have heard that they do not have genitals. They do not pass urine and stool and all this kind of information. So I'm kind of intrigued about this process of procreation in Swargalok. If there is any information, I would like to, as I practice obstetrics, it is interesting for me, just for, information like that. Anyway, thank you.
First of all, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your wonderful association, your comments every day, and your class the other day. With such a senior Vaishnava having so many experiences and devotion. In fact, we are very grateful and very fortunate to have your association here. So thanks for that, Prabhuji. And what I have heard is limited. I've heard that they conceive only during the last year before they have their lifetime ends. So, and also as soon as the child is born, the child grows to become a youth. So there is no changing of diaper and endless nights like this, bringing up, and no pregnancy duration also like this. So this much only I know, Prabhuji. I don't know the exact process of procreation. Maybe the other senior devotees, if anyone knows, they can share in this forum, or we can ask this question to somebody else.
Right. Very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Shubhakar Prabhuji, please go ahead.
I don't know. Shamagauri Mataji was keep trying to talk, and Shamagauri Mataji, can you talk now?
Hare Krishna Mataji, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Lalitangi Mataji, Dandavad Pranam. Beautiful class, Mataji. Very nicely you put up a points and quoted shlokas from Bhagavad Gita. So nice, Mataji. We love your classes, Mataji. Thank you so much.
I should thank you, Mataji, because of you only. Because whatever I'm talking is what I heard from Bhakti Sangha. So actually, even though I'm not very qualified to talk, I just agreed because I want to be grateful for the service that you're doing every day. It's not easy to keep getting speakers and keep giving us this nectar. So, thanks to you, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji, please go ahead. Thank
Yes,
you, Mataji.
Lalitangi Mataji, one more question. One of my friends from Dubai, he is in the practice for last 15 years in Krishna consciousness. So he has been listening and applying everything. And he says, sometimes I feel I'm able to follow and not losing control. The mode of passion is going out, coming to mode of goodness. But suddenly he says, sometimes he's losing and he's going down. So what is the way to control all the, Kam, Krodh, Moh, Lobh, Madhya, So this agitation 100% is not gone. So he has just asked me that, what is the reason instead of chanting 16 rounds every day and reading Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, always getting association, but sometimes it's going off. So what is the way to get out of this?
Yeah, so he's in association, reading and chanting, right?
Yeah.
So, Prabhuji, one sentence that I read may be helpful because Prabhupada says that apart from chanting, one has to strengthen one's intelligence by constantly reading. This, in fact, if you see, let me share the screen. This is a very nice purport in 12, chapter 12, text 9. Yeah, so in this text, he says that if you, oh, my dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. So this paragraph is very significant. I mean, I'm not answering this question as though I have mastered and this is not happening to me. But what I've heard from the speakers and devotees and what works for us, I'm just sharing that. So to practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. So there is regulative principles to be a human being. That is the 4 regulative principles. But here he's talking about regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. One should, under the guidance of an expert spiritual master, follow certain principles. One should rise early in the morning, take bath, enter the temple and offer prayers and chant Hare Krishna, then collect flowers to offer to the deity, cook foodstuffs to offer to the deity, take prasadam and so on. There are various rules and regulations which one should follow, and one should constantly, this is what Prabhupada says, hear Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam from pure devotees. This practice can help anyone rise to the level of love of God, and then he is sure of his progress into the spiritual kingdom of God. This practice of Bhakti Yoga under the rules and regulations with the direction of a spiritual master will surely bring one to the stage of love of God. So during this time, when we slip, we would slip because we are just practicing. There is a difference between how an experienced doctor, like we have Prahladananda Prabhu, handling a patient, and a person who's like doing it as a internship or as a part of the study, a medical student handling a patient. So we are all like students of Bhakti Yoga, and we have not become, experts like, all the fixed devotees of the Lord. So we might go here and there, and it is the stage of Anartha Nivritti, then comes Nishta, then comes. So Anartha Nivritti and then Nishta also, we may be doing all this, like getting up in the morning, taking everything. And until we get Ruchi, the taste, we might be, pulled by various things that's happening around momentarily. But what the said was, come back. So when such thing is happening, when we are falling down, like he gave an example where you go to toilet and you fell down in the toilet. So what we need to get up and come back ourselves and come. And again, if we fall, again we get up. So we are all like toddlers. I mean, especially me. So how the toddler learns to walk is after many times falling down. Then he knows, like, if I keep the step in this place, then I would fall down. If I keep like this, I will not fall down. So similarly, we will also know, like, what is pulling us down. If we sit and introspect a little bit, what is making me, go away from this? Is this any Facebook post? Is this any talk with my friend? There has to be some entry point for that. So then we try to, fix that loophole and pray to Krishna. And again, so when this was one time, this was a personal instruction by Guru Maharaj, Jai Solnath Jai Patak Maharaj. So he was asking me this: what would you do if you fail in the 10th grade? So if I fail in the 10th grade, my only option is to study again and write the 10th grade. And if I fail again, I need to study again and write again. And if I fail again, study again and write until I pass.
Yes.
So he said that is how Maya's test is. So if we until we pass, the same tests are coming. But once we pass, then we are only going to the next level of test. But there is guidance and there is support in every grade. So he says that he said that if you fail, don't get disheartened. Try again and try again and try again, and you will have to pass one time. So this is some
wonderful. Because this person who called me, he actually a worker only. He doesn't know, education is not there, but he's listening every time, lectures, other coaches and all. So for him, only has to listen. Recorded Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, he listens. He's not educated at all. But somehow he got initiated. He's Japtak Maharaj, my godbrother only. So he's doing well. But his sincere question he asked. So I'll tell him that you listen to this 12th chapter, that 12.9, that verse, I tend to listen and try to apply all the thoughts what has been written, that you go to the temple, worship and listen more and more. So automatically get corrected. I think there'll be some slip. We can always do some introspection, and as you said, you'll know where is the weak point. There you have to seal it.
Yeah. Pray to Krishna. That's how what Prabhupada also said. I am so fallen. I am nothing. So that Prabhu, he was telling, falling, if you're walking or running, and then if you fall, you might get hit. But if you're crawling, you can't fall. Even if you fall, there is no hit. So, we can all pray to Krishna that let's crawl to our lotus feet and, please keep us safe by your mercy.
You're thinking about the Kripa Siddhi. You just ask for the Kripa, because we are so fallen. There's no chance. Always keep on falling. But if your Kripa is there, like Yashoda Mai could tie only two fingers less, like that is the step now going on. So right. I'm very thankful. You are my god sister. I'm very proud of you.
Prabhuji, I am your servant, Prabhuji.
May I add a point here,
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. In 5.6.2 in Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami is saying, my dear king, you have spoken very correctly. However, after capturing animals, a cunning hunter does not put faith in them, for they might run away. Similarly, those who are advanced in spiritual life do not put faith in the mind. Indeed, they always remain vigilant and watch the mind's action. So this is what I do. I usually keep on checking on my mind as many times as I can, all right, and find out where is my mind going. Right? That way, I can put it back into the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, slok, or hearing some lecture like that. So this is some kind of, effort on our side. As Prabhuji mentioned that, Yasoda was trying to, there were two fingers less all the time.
Yeah.
What are those two fingers? One is Parishram and the other thing is Krupa. Right? So unless we do Parishram, Krupa will not come. Bhagavan Krishna saw that my mother is now perspiring. She is doing so much Parishram. Then his Krupa Sakti came in and, he got founded by light. So on our part, we must be very vigilant. And then Bhagavan Krishna, Prabhupada Maharaj will come. Bestow our mercy on us. Thank you for allowing me.
Thank you.
That was a very, very good addition. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was really a wonderful discussion. All senior devotees, very nice discussion. And from you, we have to learn. Just bless us, all the senior devotees, Prahlada and Prabhuji and Shukagar Prabhuji. Please bless us to move on in the spiritual progress.
I should thank you,
so
Anita Mataji. You only connected me to this. I'll never forget you because I'm so busy now with Bhakti Sangha. Night 2 o'clock, I see some children's classes going on and some Bhagavatam learning. So 4 slokas they're teaching. So many things. This group is so busy, mind-boggling. And I really should thank that Vinita Mataji. She's really behind all the things. Vinita Mataji, aapko bahut dhanyawad. So great you are. Vinita Mataji ki jai ho.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Prabhuji, and all glories to all the devotees. You are all coming, so we are able to serve. If nobody is coming, what we can serve, Prabhuji? It is all because you are all coming and listening to the classes. I got some service. Thank you so much.
Thank you. East or West, Bhakti Sangha is best. There's nothing beyond this, I thought.
Very good.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, please. You can say. What do you want to say, Mataji?
If to everybody, Hare Krishna, and Lalita Mataji, Hare Krishna. This is Asha here. It's my fortune. I'm a new addition to this Krishna conscious family. So for me, I think it's really a blessing. I would say that Krishna has accepted me in this life, and my journey is smoother because now he's the one who is taking me. So I'm really very thankful that my soul's journey is nearing. So to everybody here in this group, all of the soul family and all of the Krishna conscious children, I'm really, really very much thankful to you and the guardian angels and everybody who is involved in this, that I'm really so blessed that in this life I'm able to hear this, I'm able to go forward in this journey. I'm so really blessed that I don't have any words to say. And one more thing I wanted to say is that somewhere I heard Radhanath Swamiji saying, I used to listen to him for the last 2 years, and somewhere I heard him saying that we can't really digest the food unless there is hunger. So we can't really assimilate spiritual wisdom unless we feel the need for it. So I really always remember these words, and unless and until you don't have that craving from inside to go back to your home, there will not be the understanding like how the way is and how you have to go. Even if anybody explains, you will not understand the way, you still be confused unless you don't have the craving to go home. So I really take those words of Radhanath Swamiji that I read somewhere, and I think I always hear him saying this also. So to everybody, I don't know how to put all those the things that you put were like a pranam to Srila Prabhupada Swamiji. So I'm just learning those words, but yes, I have the craving to go home, so probably that's why Krishna brought me here. So thank you again, and Hare Krishna to everybody.
Thank you so much, Asha Mataji. We just met a couple days ago, and I was given your number to deliver a book from the temple, and I really wonderful to meet you. And you were asking, is there any group that I wanted to join and chant? And immediately you joined this Bhakti Sangha, and your realizations are amazing. So thank you so much for your association, and we can welcome Asha Mataji to this Sangha.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Thanks to all the
welcome.
devotees.
Thank you so much, everyone,
And
for giving. Thank you so much, Mataji, for giving your valuable time and association. So we want your association in future also. So devotees, let's pay our obeisances to Mataji. Vancha kalpatrupasya कृपासिन्धुभ्यो पतितानां वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अष्टकोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय सुपर ग्रेस ललितांगी माताजी की जय
I'm very thankful to Lalita Mataji and Dinabandhu Prabhu. I don't deserve your comment. We all aspire to be like you. You're a dear daughter of Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada personally named you Lalita Devi Dasi. And you have dedicated your life in the service of your spiritual master, and you're such a sweet soul. You're giving us your association and your Prabhu as well. So very, very grateful for that, Mataji and Prabhu.
Hi, Krishna. I need to say something, Mata. I met your spiritual master on many occasions, and one time he said to me, Lalita, is that really you? And it just touched my heart. And your spiritual master's holiness, Jayapataka Maharaj, has blessed you with the ability to give such love to the devotees. Knowing your heart is completely exposed to all of us. And I'm so thankful to know you.
Haribol.
Haribol. Yes, so moved by your love. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Can I say
Thank you
something?
so much.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, somebody is speaking. Hare Krishna, who is that?
Aditi Mataji.
No, Mataji, there is one more. I think Smita Mataji from Charlotte, I think. Yes, is that you, Mataji? Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
This is Manisha from Charlotte. Lalita Mataji, Danvat Pranam, such a wonderful class. And since you came to the Charlotte, such a wonderful, it's just hard to express. Like the explanation of the Bhagavatam from 6th canto to 9, 11, and Bhagavad Gita, a lot of preparation. It's so much inspiring, Mataji. But from all Vaishnavas, it says, a parishram. So make sure, I need mercy so I could do more parishram.
and involved in a spiritual service. Hare Krishna. Such a wonderful to everyone on the Bhakti Sanghaka group, and also for the recording class. I listen so many due to the work. Such a wonderful. Please bless me so I can do enough parishram so I will get the krupa, and all Vaishnava will krupa's mercy. I'm not qualified, but for your krupas maybe I will get further advance. Hare Krishna to all Vaishnava.
Manisha Mataji is such a sincere, pure, senior devotee practicing for more than 3 decades. Very humble, always helping. And so we are very grateful for your association, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Oh, Mataji, please pray for I'm not qualified. Hare Krishna, such wonderful service to all the Vaishnava Sanghaka group and everybody's work behind it. Hari Bol, so much grateful to you and Lord Krishna and Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Lalitangi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare
Nice
Krishna.
to hear you. Very wonderful class. Always, always, always Mataji. And we miss your association when you are coming back to Charlotte.
Preeti Mataji, you are the first one to introduce yourself like your mother. She was doing that for 6 years in Bhakti Sangha, the first one to introduce. So whenever you introduce, I'm reminded of your mother and your wonderful family. Preeti Mataji is a very senior devotee, initiated disciple of Bir Krishna Maharaj, and their family has been serving from 1980s. The devotees from book distribution van, they used to come to Charlotte. There was nothing there except them, and they used to welcome them and give them all support for book distribution, prasadam and things. So thank you, Mataji, for your association.
Thank you for Kamadike Mataji. She brought us in this Krishna conscious.
Hari Bol.
Very good, Kamadike
Bol.
Mataji.
Vinita Mataji, you are on mute.
Yes,
Just an
Mataji.
instrument.
We can close the call, Mataji, here.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
No words to cover. To her seva.
Gauranga, Nityananda.
Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Vaishnavebhyo namo namo Anantakoti Vaishnavi ki jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Ho.
Ki jai.
Jai. Thank you everyone for
Gauranga.
joining. Once again, Lalitangi Mataji, thank you
Thanks to
so
you,
much. Hari
Mataji.
Bol.
Thanks to all the devotees. All
Thank
glories to
you,
Srila
Lalitangi
Prabhupada and Guru
Mataji.
Maharaj.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
I'm going to hear.
Gauranga, Nityananda,
Gauranga,
Nityananda.
Gauranga,
Gauranga.
Nityananda.